Hello. Hey guys. Hey Soul Fam. Trying to get me situated here. I always get freaking hot when I go live. I'm getting all those freaking, gotta get grounded in that energy. Gotta bring that energy through. What's up, everyone? Whew. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining this live. How are you? I hope you guys are doing good. If you are not, make sure that you are doing what you need to do to ground yourself and make the necessary steps to regain composure, regain clarity, regain peace, and bring yourself back to that 0 point energy of balance. For me, everything's about balance. All right, so let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about how to exit the matrix, okay? How to exit the false holographic timeline reality that they have created for the world in order to keep us sustaining that reality. Okay, because it's about sustaining, guys. We gotta get to like the basic understanding, because then everything becomes so complex to understand. I don't want to give you that complex decoding of the false matrix. All right, how I learned to ground myself within my own energy, my own purity and integrity, was doing the basic healing, which at the time, 10 years ago, my ego was really, really stubborn. And today I was telling my client, we were laughing because I was telling her that the stronger the ego, the bigger the generator. All right, let me repeat that again. The stronger the ego, right? The stronger the ego, the stubborn, the ego that is most stubborn or more stronger, right, is because that person is a stronger generator. And that's the energy that is holding, right? That's the energy that is being projected. That is the energy that they hold. So no matter what it is that they are intending to use that energy to, that is the power that emits from these people. So don't shame yourself from having a strong ego. That just equals the amount of light that you are capable of holding, which is fucking amazing to understand that, because then you won't shame yourself, and you will elevate yourself from that place, right? And understand yourself that it takes time. Okay, so for me, it took me a long time for me to become a teacher until I was ready. All right, I wasn't ready 10 years ago. I wasn't ready 8 years ago. I wasn't ready 7 years ago. Okay. I went through immense training, excruciating, challenging experiences in order for me to be capable of being ready to teach. And even just recently, I still had to upgrade my way of teaching, right? To become more balanced. And it takes a lot when you have a fucking strong ego and you've been through hell and back, especially when you've have so much trauma, not only from this lifetime, but I'm talking about other past lifetimes, hundreds of past lifetimes. All of that plays a big part on how what needs to be healed in order for us to be able to get grounded in our purpose and our calling and who we are and what we're here to do. So yes, it took me a long time for me to claim myself a teacher, because I wanted to be ready. Not that I really wanted to, because obviously I have a strong ego, and my ego fought for a couple of years of my awakening, and I wanted to be ready, but I wasn't. So what I would do, I just kind of present my experiences to the people on Facebook. So I've been on Facebook for probably about, I would say, more than 8 years. And that is when my journey started with trying to navigate myself into understanding what is the false matrix, how does it operate, what does it entail, how does it look like, how does it feel like, most importantly, because you can't really decode anything until you actually get good at your feeling body. It's really hard for you to transcend this matrix or transcend the false matrix timeline if you're not really good and in tune with your own feeling body. And that's why I always motivate you guys to stay practicing and stay practicing your meditation. It's very, very important for you guys to stay really in tune with yourself and with your energy, because it's going to be very hard for you to decipher and discern yourself from other people, because we're talking about intermingling. We're talking about being interconnected. Not in a good way, guys, okay? So I'm not talking about being interconnected in a good way. I love being able to decode things not only from my own experience, but from other people's experiences as well, right? So why I'm teaching you, not teaching you, but like giving you the basics of how to exit the matrix, the false matrix, is because it's not that complex. Though people can make it complex because they probably haven't really figured it out through the essence of purity. And why I even became a inner child healer was not because I wanted to, all right? I didn't freaking put my hand up and say, hey, I want to become an inner child healer. No, my higher self and the soul council, which I talk about a lot, really had me really understand, not easily, because like I said, I have a huge ego. The bigger the ego, the bigger the generator, okay? So that means that if it took you longer to get to awaken, it's because they had a hold on you, okay? We're talking about you being a freaking giant, massive generator. So because you're so fucking strong, they keep a hold on your frequency. I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that, because that is how you're gonna exit the false matrix, which is amazing, okay? All right, so I didn't want to become an inner child healer. I wanted to do what everybody else was doing at the time. And at the time, nobody was healing. This was 9 years ago. Nobody was talking about healing. Nobody was talking about shadow work. Nobody was talking about inner child. And so they were pushing me, like they were bringing this to my awareness. You cannot exit the false matrix without cultivating purity. Right? Well, how do we gain that purity? Can't gain that purity through intellectual deciphering, intellectual filters. We have to get to know what that purity is through reconnecting ourselves to that most innocent, pure part of your consciousness. So that's what I kept getting from my higher self. That was long time ago, 9 years ago, okay? And when I had to go through the healing of those very trauma-based programs, these very hard pain pockets to decode, I started to understand how this was going to affect and impact how I exit the false matrix programming, how I was going to get so good at being able to decode the entrapments within the false matrix, because my energetic field was becoming more pure, right? Because I was healing those parts of my being. Because we're talking about a galactic blueprint. It's not only necessarily a higher aspect of your being. It's all interconnected. And I'm going to get in, this is going to be an amazing video because a lot of people don't know how to exit the false matrix, and they get stuck in this freaking loophole, in this labyrinth, and they are, again, shooting out energetically all these energetic cords that get stuck in so many belief systems. I wish I could have a fucking board so I could show you what I'm seeing, because when I'm doing a psychic reading, like, obviously you can't see what I'm seeing, and I wish you could. I wish I could freaking turn on the TV and I can project my thoughts into the TV and you can see exactly what I'm seeing, so it could be better understood in your own mind, because I'm trying to get into your consciousness and try to get you to understand what I'm saying. So we are shooting out, when we are projecting, right? It's like a projector. We're a projector and we're shooting out these. And when we're projecting, we're also connecting. Am I correct? So you're connecting. If you are talking to a person, what are you doing? Right? In our limited understanding, in our limited belief system, what we've been told is that this physical reality is all that exists. But they've told you that in order for you to not be able to have an understanding of your own spirit and energy and how it all relates to every fucking thing. Okay? So when you're talking to someone, you are not only projecting your own energy, you're also connecting yourself to that energy. That's why it's important. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I'm like trying to teach you in a way that you understand, because like I said, I wasn't always ready to teach. Now, like, I'm getting better and better, obviously, but okay, so let me, I don't want to change where I'm going. So okay. So when you are shooting out, you are not only projecting projecting your energy, but you're also connecting. So that person is also going to start to project their stuff. They're going to influence you. This is why it's important to cut energetic cords. And it's important, if you want to really know how to master yourself, you got to be very clear with your energetic field. This is called self-cultivation and self-containment. Your containment within your own energetic field. It's very important, right? Because many of those things that we are still attached to energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, those are the things that are going to dictate how you are operating in this reality and what you are still being influenced by. Okay? So, you guys, I know I'm in another dimension right now. I'm like, seriously, I was talking to my client. She's like, you're like freaking glowing. I was telling her that I woke up and I told my twin flame, I'm like, I'm fucking high as fuck. And obviously not high as fuck, but like natural high. We literally produce natural DMT in this state of being. You don't need drugs to produce DMT. DMT can naturally be produced when you are self-contained. All right? So, there's just so much I want to tell you guys. Like, okay. So why they have all these different siphoning tactics, siphoning mechanisms that happen within the false matrix, within the artificial, because it's artificial, it's not real. Yes, it feels real, and this is what me and my client today were actually debating, that it feels very much real, and it does, in fact, affect our spiritual body. And that's why we cannot move into the new earth or be able to hold this beautiful timeline that exists out of the false matrix if we're not healing, if we're not cutting cords, right? Because then what's going to happen is that it's not going to be self-sustained. Does it make sense of what I'm saying? Because it makes a lot of sense to me, obviously, because I'm here, but you want to be able to sustain this timeline, right? So I woke up and I'm like, fuck, I'm like so fucking naturally fucking high. and I had a session, right? And I'm like, I feel so fucking good. Like, I feel like I'm in heaven. Like, I feel like everything's glowing. The babies are laughing. They're hugging me. They're kissing me. There's so much love here. There's so much light here. There's so much sovereignty. There's so much self-cultivation here, right? But you would say, well, aren't you already ready to hold that frequency? Well, I'm not completely there yet, but it's happening, right? Right? So the reason why I woke up kind of disoriented is because what happens when you cut all these cords, right? Cutting all these cords. Like, if I can give you, next time what I'm going to do so I can really teach you guys, I'm going to fucking have a board here and I'm going to be like drawing so you guys can get a better understanding. Because sometimes I learn faster like that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm more of a visual learner. Anyway, so I'm here and me and my client are debating about everything that, that she's going through. She's going through her own activations, she's going through her own sovereignty. And so it's amazing to see how people are, a lot of people, this is an ability that everybody has. And so what I'm seeing here and have been seeing it is that the more attachment that you have towards people, and I know a lot of times it might seem that I'm being like mean to people because I say that to not rely on other people to love you. But guys, I'm not just fucking saying that just to say it. I'm telling you because it works. It actually helps you really ascend to your true self. It actually helps you master who the hell you are and what you're here to do. Because if you're depending on somebody else to cultivate, you're not really cultivating your own energy. You're gating energy from somebody else. You're siphoning energy. And I know it doesn't sound good. I know it's hard, but you got to understand something about self-mastery. Self-mastery does not happen without accountability. A master's not afraid to look at himself in the mirror. A master's not afraid to see what his weak spots are. What the fuck? What are my weak spots? That's decoding for me. And when I'm decoding something, I'm not decoding only what I want to see. No, I'm decoding everything that is pulling me back into the false matrix. What is keeping me there? Because there's so many entrapments and there's so many labyrinths within this artificial, false matrix that they created to keep you locked in this false artificial matrix and to keep you sustaining the matrix. Someone said I'm a visual. That's awesome. Next time I'm going to do that. I'm going to order on Amazon today. I'm going to get a board for you guys. Okay. So I'm going to help you exit this false matrix because you guys don't understand how powerful you are and that you have God within your being. And you were made in the image of God. So what does that say spiritually, mentally, emotionally, energetically within your own quantum field? Okay, so being okay in the midst of chaos, one thing I have to learn is to put a protection bubble. Exactly. Yes. And I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about the capsule that happens a lot of times, and it's a mirror capsule, but I'll talk about that in another video. So let's get into how to exit the matrix. Okay, so now you understand, right? The one how the matrix keeps you stuck in the false matrix through what? Pain body, right? Pain body. That's how they keep you here. Why do you think they freaking feed you and they create torture and they create disconnection? They connect oppression. They instill suppression, fear, intimidation into your consciousness. And they make you believe one thing about this reality that is not based on true organic and natural state of being. Your state of being is not that of which they taught you. They have programmed you to believe that because without you as a co-creator, they cannot keep it going. You can't keep it going. Everything's crumbling down. That's why everything's being unveiled. Everything's being exposed. Everything's being highlighted, right? Things that were not highlighted before, things were not shown to you before, now everything's being shown. Because at some level of your being, you're saying, I want the truth. I want to exit out. I want sovereignty. So you're pushing. You're pushing. You're saying, I want this, right? But even though at some level we want this, we still need to do the cord cutting. That's why I talk about cord cutting all the time with all your fucking sex partners, okay? And don't mind me. And if you do mind me saying bad words or cursing, that's just the way I talk. I don't believe that spirituality is to be put in a box. I don't believe in that. That's the reason why I left religion. Okay, because I've been in religion. I've been in Jehovah's Witness, Christianity, Catholic was my first, Jehovah's Witness was my second. Yes, I've been in all the religions you could think of. So Catholic, Jehovah's Witness at the age of 8. Then we went to Christianity. And then afterwards, when I was 21, I decided to baptize myself as a Mormon. Okay. So I left all of that because it was entrapping me. I didn't feel liberation. I felt compromised. I felt regulated. You're not good if you don't do this, right? Robotic. Spirituality is about freedom. So I don't believe no one should be telling you how to speak. If you want to say bad words, if you want to curse, that's you. That's the way you express. That's the way I express myself. So anyways. So what was I saying before I said that? But anyways, you get, I don't know what I said, but if you guys remember, because I know I'm just like really getting all of this and have all of this just packed up here in my own computer system, because my mind is like a computer system that just saves stuff. Grew up in a pageant. Yeah, that's amazing. See, you grew up with a little bit more liberation. It's the slave thinking. Exactly. It's a slave thinking. It keeps you enslaved and trapped, capsulated, right? Cord cutting. But do you remember what I was talking about, Melina? Okay, so yeah, religion is we're talking about exiting the matrix, and maybe that's the reason why we shifted, because I know all of you guys are participating in this beautiful transmission. And religion is one of the biggest freaking entrapments. It does. It keeps you capsulated. It keeps you suppressed. It keeps you going along with whatever they're teaching you from a very early age. If I don't know what call that's indoctrination for me. That's programming for me. Okay. So, but we'll talk about religion in another video, because I know that. Okay. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Okay. So Melina said cut cords with sexual partners. Okay. So, yeah, let's talk about that, because religion, that's a very touchy subject, and I really, really want to be as careful and organized as possible when I come to talk to you guys about religion, because I know a lot of people believe in that stuff. And I did too, because I totally understand. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in another video. So, cut cords with sexual partners. Okay, so you literally have to cut cords with all of your sexual partners, okay? Not just one, not just freaking yesterday's, not freaking 2 years ago's. Every single sexual partner that you've had, even if you don't remember, okay? You at least gotta try energetically to cut the energetic cords with everyone you've ever connected yourself with, because you literally had someone else enter your being, or you exchange it energy with someone else, and that always leaves a residual energy. And I talked about this in many of my videos that, by the way, got deleted off Facebook because they deleted both of my accounts. So we gotta cut these cords, because even that leaves this residual energy, right, that keeps us in some way still being siphoned by that last partner, right? And it also creates a lot of parasitic energy within the womb, okay? The womb within even with your sacral chakra, and that's why a lot of people have a lot of freaking scattered energy, okay? A lot of clients of mine, when I do energetic scanning on them, immediately, most of them have parasitic energy within their sacral, within their sacral, and they have a lot of scattered energy. So what I got to see with a lot of these scannings of sexual distortion and sexual parasitic energy that is keeping a lot of people bound down to like this three-dimensional matrix reality, is that a lot of these people have very, like, how do you say, strong openings to sexual distortion and sexual manipulation. So a lot of these people get really easily seduced by the opposite sex or by sexual distortions. And that is one of the strongest, most powerful entrapments that they've created through your own sexual energy. Because sexual energy is very freaking powerful. And guess what? Sexual energy creates realities. All right. So we want to bring it back to self-containment, because you don't want to be scattered everywhere. That's the reason why people feel scattered. Why I said they feel scattered, because there is a bunch of different freaking energies running through my sacral chakra. It's common sense, right? But it's not so common because people don't talk about this stuff. And you connect the dots. And this is what happens, is that the reason why you're not completely grounded in your own self, and you're feeling completely kind of like out of touch with reality, or your mind is everywhere, or you're thinking a lot, or you're getting abused in your dreams. Because a lot of times when we have a lot of scattered sexual energy, we're going to have dreams that people are taking advantage of us, or just succubus visitations within the astral realm that are still taking advantage of our sexual energy, because we're still open. So that's why it's important, guys, to really cut these energetic cords when it comes to really claiming yourself back to claiming yourself back, right? And becoming self-contained, because that's the only way that you could actually exit the matrix. Because how are you going to exit the matrix? How are we going to exit the matrix if sexual cords are freaking still scattered everywhere? So just imagine this. And when I have my board, I'm going to draw it for you. So just imagine or visualize yourself like a octopus, okay? So you're not an octopus, but there is these cords that are shooting out of your sacral into this false matrix, virtual false matrix, that are sustaining that false matrix, and they're keeping you stuck within the false matrix. This is why a lot of people become celibate. How do you cut cords? Oh, that's another video. That's going to be another video that I'm going to have to make, because in this one, I'm not going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about like what keeps us there. What sexual partners are healthy versus draining energy? Well, they got to be conscious and aware of their own energy, and to be in their integrity and purity, because are they protecting themselves from other people? Are they doing the clearing? Are they doing energetic healing? Are they taking care of their consciousness? Are they, doing what needs to be done for them to become self-contained and self-cultivated? Those are the questions that you should be asking when you're dating someone, and not just jump into bed with them, because you don't know who you're jumping into bed with. And I'm not talking about this dimension. I'm talking about dimensions that you cannot possibly see, but they are still there, interconnected, because all these beings that can get attached to specific people, you can't see them, but that doesn't mean that they're not playing a big part on the influence of a lot of people that are here, that are in the false matrix. And that's why it keeps on going. It keeps on recycling itself, because people are not really taking their power back or being responsible about their own sexual energy. Does that make sense? I hope that I answered your question. stop following people that you know are either intentionally or unconsciously stealing energy from you. And being honest about yourself. Okay, so pain body, sexual energy. Okay, those two are very, very important. You cannot exit the matrix without these two being healed, being recognized, and you can't. You're open. You're an open field. You don't want to be an open field. You want to be self-contained. You want to have a very strong, amazing, beautiful, powerful bubble, right? Where you are containing your light. Everybody should be this way. Everybody should be walking with a very strong aura, not debilitated or weak because of what we are still allowing other people to enter within our energy. We got to be very, very aware and very, very more cautious, because obviously when you're doing your own healing and you're navigating your own stuff and you're going through your own spiritual awakening, you're going to make mistakes. Okay, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fall, but you're going to rise back up, and you're going to remember my words because they're very, very important, guys. Okay, Mariposa said, oh man, and if you're sleeping with someone who is sleeping with multiple people, then you're going to feel all of the mess. Exactly, my love. And that's the reason why I call it scattered energy. And a lot of the people that are sleeping around, that's exactly what they are in their energy. They're not self-cultivated. And it's very hard for you to become pure when you are freaking being infiltrated by this energy, all these different energies that are not yours necessarily. And just think of it like this. When you're sleeping with someone, you're sleeping with everything that they have inside. That's the fact. All right. So pain body, sexual distortions, and belief systems. So pain body, sexual distortions, and belief systems, okay? Because deep down within your subconscious mind, all right, or your childhood or your upbringing, or even generations before that, there's a passed down, not only pain and trauma, but there's also passed down belief systems that have to be collapsed, they have to be dissolved, they have to be deleted or alchemized, right? So that you can let go. Do you do one-on-one session? Yes, I do, my love. You can go to my business page and I will give you information after the video. Okay, so there's these belief systems that keep you captive. So this is why I need this board. Okay, so there's these belief systems that keep you captive at a certain part of the collective consciousness of this artificial matrix consciousness. And so there is, even if you don't see it, if you have a particular belief system of anything like poverty consciousness, religious belief systems, anything like that, it's like that is what is being targeted in your consciousness to also keep you in a state of disconnection or not really owning all of your energy within your body. And so it's important that we find what needs to be healed, what needs to be deleted, but also find reconciliation when it comes to like in integrating peace, because we need to forgive. So that's a big part of what also can keep you still stuck in the false matrix is resentment. So this is why we want to do all this healing, okay? Because you can't go into the new earth, right? A lot of people say, well, why can't I go into the new earth? Why can't I feel it? Why can't I sustain that energy? Why don't I not feel happy? I don't feel loved. I don't feel good. I don't feel completely grounded, right? Or you feel like back and forth. The reason is because there is still some type of resentment. There's an attachment. Attachment is energetics. A resentment, when it's a contract, when you're contracted energetically, you're creating what? What create a contract when you're contracted in your energy and that particular pocket, because it's probably not a big, but it's probably small, resentment towards a particular person, a resentment towards a particular system, a resentment towards a particular movement, a resentment towards anything in the false matrix that can keep you plugged in the matrix needs to be harmonized. Does that make sense or no? You guys need to watch this movie too. And I know that me and my twin flame created this movie. We designed it, even though if I tell you the movie and I tell you who's in the movie, you probably think that I'm crazy, but I really don't care because I'm doing things within the spiritual realm and the astral realm that other people haven't really got to do for themselves because they don't really believe in themselves, right? They don't have that self-containment yet. Me and my twin flame created a movie where it's a new movie too. It's about twin flames. It's about twin flames, and it's about holographic realities and virtual realities. And in the movie, they're twin flames, and so Salma Hayek is the main character, and she's Mexican, just like me. I'm Mexican. She's Hispanic Latina, and the twin flame, her soulmate in the movie, she calls him soulmate, but I know what it is. Her soulmate is a white dude, just like my twin flame. And the movie, the story is the same as the story with me and my twin flame. So she comes down from the higher realms, a higher reality, a higher state of existing and being, where they live in prosperity, abundance for everyone, and it's a very beautiful place. Very beautiful, beautiful place, right? So she comes down from this higher dimension. She comes down, and he's in the reality, the dense reality, that lower aspect. She comes down to wake him up, just what I did, right? She comes down, and in his reality, in that dense reality, he is depressed because he just got a divorce. He got a divorce to his his African wife, his African wife, who's African. You can see she's black, right? She got a divorce, and she had a child with his wife, with his ex-wife, and they're getting a divorce. So he's super fucking depressed, and he's freaking taking all these pills, and he's not happy. So he's not paying attention to his work or what he's doing, and his boss ends up firing the guy. So when he's firing him, he freaking has a freaking kind of like a nervous breakdown where he skips out in his consciousness and he doesn't know what to do. So he stands up and he accidentally hits the guy, the freaking boss, and ends up killing the guy accidentally. So he freaking starts getting nervous, and he puts the guy on top of like this window and covers him with a curtain, right? And he fucking takes off. So he runs down and he goes to the bar that's right next to his job, his ex job, with the building. And so he's drinking, right? And Salma Hayek is sitting there, like not nonchalant, just sitting there, right? And then she's like, she sees him, she keeps looking at him, just staring at him. And he's like, just looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, why you keep staring at me, right? And then so he keeps drinking, whatever. And then she goes, hello. And then he's like, hi, whatever. And then she was like, you want to come over here? And then he's like, no. Because he's like fucking panicked. He just killed someone accidentally, right? So he's not even like, what? No, just leave me alone, right? So then she gets up, and then she goes up to his ear, and then she says, don't you need an alibi? And then he's like, what the fuck? How the fuck do you know, right? What do you mean I need an alibi? So he gets up and he's like, okay, now he wants to go with her, right? Now he wants to sit down with her because he's like, what the fuck, right? So she's like, so I know they're twin flames, right? You guys, okay. So she knows who he is, but he doesn't remember. And this is what I mean. He got stuck in the illusion. And I'm going to keep going, guys. This is amazing, guys. This is fucking amazing. Okay. So so he goes sit down with her, right? So he's like fucking devastated, and he's just sitting down, he's just drinking, and he's like, well, how are you gonna, she's like, I'm gonna help you. And he's like, how do you know I need an alibi? And then she points up to the building where he put the guy, and she points up, and then he sees that the guy's freaking hanging there, right? He's like dead, he's just hanging through the window. And then so he's like, oh fuck, like, oh my god, like, what am I gonna do? He's like, well, I can fix it. And then he's like, well, how are you gonna fix it? She goes, well, I need you to go to the restroom, and I need you to go to my ex-boyfriend, and I need you to get these crystals. And he's like, why do you want these crystals? He's like, just get me the crystals and I will help you, and you wouldn't even have to worry about you killing the guy or whatever, right? So he goes into the restroom, comes back, gives her the crystals, and then she takes the crystal, right? And then she puts a crystal in his glass, and then he starts drinking the glass or whatever, and he's like drinking, and then she says, okay, you're ready. And so she gives him the hand, her hands, they hands together, and then she starts to send her energy to where the guy's at the window, and she sends the energy to the guy, so you can see the light like coming out, and then goes into the guy where the guy's at the window, and she makes the guy fall off the building like if it was a suicide. So the fucking guy falls off the freaking building, right? And her twin flame is just sitting there, doesn't even remember her at all. And he freaking falls off, and so it's considered suicide. So he's off the hook, so he's good, right? So anyway, so then he goes back to her house, and her house ends up being a freaking, she's like a homeless, guys. She's a homeless twin flame, but because she's homeless, but because she's not from this world, guys. This is a fucking amazing story. She's not from this world, so she's just here to wake him up so that she can bring him back home. So, you know, he's right there just happy, whatever. And then so she kind of like tries to wake him up, and he doesn't want to wake up because he has a lot of attachment to the reality. His dense lower self has a lot of attachment to his daughter, just like my twin flame. Kind of the same story, guys. A lot of attachment that hasn't been healed, a lot of stuff that hasn't been healed, guilt, trauma, just, you know, the attachment to his daughter has not been amended. And so there has to be more healing. So that's the reason why he got lost in the illusion, because he was still attached to the false matrix. In some way, there was still an attachment. So she kind of knew that. So she's trying to wake him up, right? So they end up taking these crystals, and then he realizes that he has superpowers, and that he starts to like just use his powers to like eliminate people that want to kill him, and then like literally crushes a car with his bare hand, just by going like this. He crushes a car because he gets his powers back through these crystals. So he ends up going to, okay, so then he leaves for like a little bit to go make a call, and then when he comes back to where her house is, like the homeless, like the part where she's at, she comes back, and she's really fucking mad at him. And then she says, why did you fucking leave me? Why did you leave me? You shouldn't have left me. And then she's like, where did you go? I'm so worried about you. I'm so worried about you. Don't you know we're twin flames? Don't you know we're twin flames? Wake up. Wake up. Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel like you're going to put me back to sleep. Oh my God. You're pulling me back into the matrix. You're pulling me back into, you know, going back to sleep with you. I need you to wake up, please. And then he's like, oh, I just made a call to his daughter. He's like, no, your daughter's not real. Your daughter's not real. She's soulless. She's not real. We are real, but that's not real. But he doesn't get it, guys. And he's not going to fucking get it because he needs to heal. That's what I talk about, healing, guys. Because that's the only way that you can actually fucking get out, guys. Okay. So anyways, so he's like, I don't fucking know. He's like, I don't fucking know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know if you're fucking lying to me. He's like, just tripping out. He's like, what do you mean we're soulmates? What do you mean we're, you know, twin flames or soulmates? And she's like, you're mine. Don't you know? You're mine and I'm yours. And then he's like, I don't know, man. Cause he just met her. So he's like tripping out on her. Like, dude, I don't know. This is not going to work. Cause I'm about to leave. And then she slaps him, and she's like, what the fuck? What do you mean you're gonna leave? You think you can disconnect from me? You think you can disconnect from me? We can never be disconnected. We're soulmates. We're soulmates. We're always gonna be connected. You can never leave me. You can never disconnect from me. So, and then he's like, well, I don't know what the fuck. He's like, you fucking tell me that person's not real, and that person's not real, and that's not real, and that's not fucking real. He's like, I just gotta take your word for it. I don't know I don't believe you. He went like that, right? He's like, I don't fucking believe this freaking crazy person, right? She's like talking about people are not real, and this is not a real reality, and only we are real, and we create our reality, whatever. So he's tripping out on her. He says, and she says, you know what? Okay, you know what? I'm going to completely take you back to the higher dimension. Guys, check this fucking out. You're going to fucking, this is going to activate you. If it doesn't activate you, I don't know. Then we'll have to keep working on you. But anyways, okay. So she ends up taking him to the higher dimensions and completely exits out of the false matrix and takes him to higher dimensions, because he was drawing these drawings in the lower aspect of himself. In the false matrix, he was drawing his house from the higher dimensions. He was drawing it, and it's a beautiful house, beautiful ocean view. It was beautiful, right? He's like, I just don't know if it's real. She's like, this is fucking real. This is our fucking house. This is our house. What do you mean that it's not real? It's our house. She's like, okay, I have to take you, but it's going to be risky. Guys, check this fucking out. Why is it going to be risky? And I'm going to tell you why is it going to fucking be risky. Now you're going to understand what I'm saying about why you need to heal and why you need to cut the cords, okay? So she ends up going to the higher dimensions, and she's a scientist in the higher dimensions, okay? And he's a doctor. So she takes him to the higher dimensions, and he's like, wow, oh my God, this is what I see. Like, this is what I visualize, right? This is what I see. So he's fucking happy because he has a fucking huge ass house. Everything's beautiful there. Everything, like, they do not work there. They do not have 9-to-5 jobs there. Everybody fucking focuses on their purpose, on their mission, on what they're passionate about. They don't need to go work. They need to find their freaking passion. That's what that reality is for. They could create whatever they want, and they focus on that. So they have these robots that are just help, that they're the ones that do all the hard work. Like, they do all your food. They take care of all the cleaning and all the hard work. They're the ones that do all of that. So you get to focus on your passion in this higher dimension, this higher timeline, this higher reality. And everybody gets like $500,000 every year. Everybody gets this freaking $500,000 every fucking year. So nobody has to fucking be worried about money. Nobody has to be worried about poverty. Everybody's freaking rich. And if you want to become more richer, well, obviously you got to create stuff, and you got to participate in creating more stuff. And that's why she's a scientist and he's a doctor. So then she takes him to her house, and her house is their house. They're both her house. But he still doesn't remember. Like, he doesn't remember because he's been stuck in the false matrix for such a fucking long time that he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember, the details. Like, he doesn't remember. He loves it because he has a pool. It's an ocean view house. It's a mansion. Exactly like what I visualized with me and my twin flame, guys. This is why I know I designed this movie. If you don't want to believe me, that's cool. I don't care. But so anyway, so then Salma Hayek, she's like, comes back, and okay, so anyway, so she needs to go back into the false matrix because she needs to take care of everything. She needs to cut the cords. She needs to do everything that needs to be done because there can be a risk for them going up there to a higher dimension. And what I've always told you about the council, and tell me if you don't remember, guys. Don't you remember that I used to tell you? If you don't remember, I tell you guys why you cannot ascend and why they cannot make you completely activated. And I told you this about the Soul Council and why everything that I'm telling you about this movie makes so much fucking sense, because I know the truth to this, because I've been told this for the past 9 years. The Soul Council has been telling me, that my higher self has been telling me that they cannot make you active. They cannot completely activate you and completely ascend you, because it can be a shock to your system. And why you cannot enter the New Earth frequency, because you cannot enter it. The New Earth protects itself. Remember I posted something about this? Because we've done that so much We fucked up so much, guys. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the rest of the movie so you can connect it to what I'm saying right now. Just remember what I said right now, that we fucked up so much. Okay, remember that. Just keep that. Okay. So they're in this higher timeline, right? And she's a scientist, so she's like, she knows they're twin flames, but he doesn't fucking know. He doesn't remember. Okay, so then he's like, I don't want to go back, because she's like, we need to go back. And he's like, I don't fucking want to go back down to the this false artificial timeline. And she's like, we need to go back. I'm sorry, but we need to go back. He's like, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. Why? Why do we have to go back? And she knows why, right? So he kind of convinces her to not go back and stay for 2 more days. And that was a big mistake. I'm going to tell you why. And why everything's going to make sense to you. So they go back and, hold on. So they go back. Okay. So then she's asking him questions, because he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to go back, but you're going to ask these questions. I'm going to ask you these questions in front of all these people, because she's a scientist. So she has to prove to everybody else that this holographic reality works, right? Or why it does work and why it doesn't work. So he's kind of like the guinea pig. So she asked him, how do you feel coming back to this reality versus the other reality? And then he said, well, I love it. There's so much beauty here, like I have everything that I ever wanted. Like I have everything here. He's like, I'm so happy. Right. And then, so she asked him, do you feel like you're missing something here? That's when it started, guys. Check this out. He said, he starts like thinking about it, and he's thinking about, who is he thinking about? His daughter. Why is he thinking about his daughter? There's no healing. When there's no healing, there's an energetic cord. When there's an energetic cord, there is a connection still being made, right? There is no amendment. There's no harmonization. There's no alchemy. So what happens is that you can't let go. You can't enter the new earth. But because we already done that, we made so many mistakes. Okay, remember what I said? He brings part of his daughter. When he starts looking around, he starts thinking about, if he's missing someone, he starts thinking about his daughter. That is not real, but it's part of that reality, the old matrix. And because he himself is a portal, which I've always told you guys, we are portals. He brought that holographic image or energy from his daughter into that beautiful reality, what you call the new earth. Okay? All right, stay with me. She comes in, and as soon as she starts coming in, because he's bringing her in by his own energy, his own attachment to the false matrix starts to merge into this new earth frequency. And what starts to happen is that people start to argue in this new earth frequency, start fighting, and there's all this chaos happening. Why? Because she realized, as a scientist, which I'm right about what I said, she said, OMG, you've brought some of that reality into our reality, and now it's affecting our new earth template. We've done this already. That's why they're not going to take you to the new earth. Do not expect the council or your higher self or God or creator to take you to the new earth, because if you're not purified, if you haven't healed, if you haven't cut the cords, they're not going to risk you damaging the new earth with whatever attachments you carry, whatever residual energy you still have within your being, because they're not going to risk their timeline just to let you enter. No, we've already done that. This is the reason why this matrix got so infiltrated by reptilians, because we allowed it to happen. We were not processing the pain that was happening to us every single lifetime. Okay? And I've said this about the Soul Council, and whether people believe me or not, I really don't care. That's the reason why I get deleted off Facebook, because they know I have the codes. They know that I have the codes of liberation. I'm not the only one, but I can tell you that I probably one of the strongest generators out there. Why would you delete me off 2 of my Facebooks if I am not generating an antidote? Right? So anyways, so the daughter starts to infiltrate the timeline of that beautiful reality, and the people that are like in the new earth start to fight and argue, which does never happen there. Everyone's cool, everybody's happy, everybody's fucking content, everybody's living their life, you know, smelling the roses, looking at the sun, and you know, everybody has boats. You guys, everybody gets paid $500,000 in that reality, and all of a sudden people are arguing about money, they're arguing about this, they're arguing about that. So the scientist is like, you know what? Oh my God, I fucked up. I shouldn't have brought you. She shouldn't have brought her twin flame into the new earth, because her twin flame was not ready. Her twin flame was not ready to be liberated. Her twin flame was not ready to be rescued. Her twin flame was not be ready to be saved. That saving has to happen on your own. You're not going to save your twin flame. Your twin flame has to save himself. Okay, that's the point. But then after that, she's like, okay, I got to take you back, because you're fucking up my timeline. You're fucking up the new earth timeline that everybody else is existing in, just so that you can be happy. So they had to go back into the false timeline, the false matrix. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Sorry, guys. Oh my God, my freaking leg. Okay, so they go back to the false timeline to go fix this thing, because it's affecting everybody else in the new earth that they didn't have nothing to do with what the hell she was doing. So they're like kind of mad at her, right? So he goes back. And then they get, because they're so how do you say, because his pain body got to her. Remember I said that as a twin flame, like all of the energy kind of affects you too, and because she was still in that dense reality, started to affect her. So she started to go a little bit cuckoo in the head. She started to shoot people. And so when she shot this guy, the police started to go after them, right? And then they find them, and then they only have 10 crystals to go back to the new earth. And he's like, you know, they're like kind of like debating about who's going to go back and who's going to stay in this false matrix. Is it going to be her, or is it going to be him? And then automatically he's like, well, I'll go to the new earth and you can stay here. And then you could see it in her eyes how disappointed she is of him saying that. But it's expected, because he is a lower part of himself. He's not ascended yet. He's still infiltrated. He still is not completely healed. So of course he's going to think in a distorted way, and only for himself, ego-based, right? So he's like, you know, I can go and you can stay. You'll be fine, right? And she's like, her eyes like start getting watery, because she's like, fuck, dude. Like he just straight out like wants to go and like leave me here, you know? And then so she starts crying, and they're both just crying because they're going to get arrested. And if you get arrested and they don't have enough crystals in that false matrix, they're going to both go to jail. And so he ends up just they're crying, and he's thinking about his daughter. And then he realizes that, you know what, he has a lot to work through in this false matrix, and that he's going to stay. And then he's like, okay, you know what, I'll just stay. And because he wants to heal. He wants to come back to his daughter, even though his daughter is not real. His daughter is artificial. His daughter is not real, but it doesn't matter, because my client was asking me today, but if she's not real, then how come, she has a hold on him? Because it affects you. It affects you spiritually. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's an experience that affects us and impacts us. And even though some part of us knows it's not real, there's a part of us that's still experiencing that. You know what I mean? Or no? But anyways, okay, so then she's like, okay, I'm going to leave. The ending's not good, but I'm sure she's going to come back for him. So then she's like, she gets up, and then she distracts the cops so that he can go. And so she gets up and she puts like the thing on her nose, because she has to sniff the crystals up her nose. And the crystals, and then she just like looks at him, and she's like crying, like saying goodbye to her twin flame. And she's like looking at him, like in his eyes. They both looked at each other from far away, and then she just looks at him and she's like crying like saying goodbye to him, and then she shoots up the crystal and she exits it out of that reality. She goes back to the new earth, and hopefully she goes back and fixes it. So I hope you guys like the movie. The movie is called Bliss. I didn't want to tell you the movie because I wanted to connect the dots of everything that I've been saying for a very long time. Guys, it's not that the soul council or your higher self or God, divine creator or source doesn't want you in the new earth, doesn't want you at a higher frequency, but sometimes you can't maintain that frequency. Sometimes you're not allowed to go into that reality because you carry a lot of baggage. They're not going to risk their reality for you. We can't. That's why this world has been under quarantine, guys. And I'm going to go into that too because it's another story that you haven't heard. This world has been under quarantine. And the reason why is because we have maintained it like that. You want to know why? Because we know better. We know that we cannot go into another reality with all the shit carrying, with all the baggage, all the fucking attachments that we have to lovers. If you're still attached to a person, if you're still attached to a lover, even your twin flame, it's going to be hard for you to exit this reality because you're maintaining yourself through another human being. You're supposed to be maintaining yourself through your own self-cultivation. Mastery is about that. Mastery is not about being dependent on somebody else. You need to heal everything that you've been through, every fucking timeline, every past lifetime, every relationship. Every single relationship has affected you. You guys need to watch that movie. I fucking felt so high just watching it. Like, dude, I know that it's a movie that I created because all the synchronistic, all the freaking, it's too much of a coincidence, guys. Even my client today said, you made that movie. I know for a fact. She's like, I know you made that movie. Just you telling me the story. She's like, and you're telling me that it's a white guy and it's a Mexican girl. Like, that's you and Jesse. Guys. And the way that I went to help Jesse, and when when I told him that he was my twin flame, and everything that we've been through, every single thing. Anyways, guys, so I hope you guys go watch the movie. And please connect it to your own ascension. Connect it to what needs to be healed within your being, within your heart, within your energy, because you cannot ascend to the new earth frequency if you don't heal yourself. It's called Bliss. Bliss, and it's Salma Hayek, and I don't know the guy's name, but it's Salma Hayek. You're going to love it. And so he had to go back. He had to go back to heal, guys. And I'm sure that, I'm right here, obviously. I came for him and I came back and I'm helping him ascend to himself, and he is an amazing person and we're all amazing, but we cannot go anywhere else if we don't heal this planet first. So we need to focus on this planet. We need to focus on our own timeline. We need to focus on our own energy, start to heal every relationship. I know it's a lot to heal, but if you don't heal those relationships, there is still an attachment. And all your belief systems and all that stuff. But anyways, guys, I love you. I hope you guys loved my storytelling. Is that how you say it? I love you guys so much. I'm going to do another video about, ask me questions. I don't know what you have questions for. But the next one is going to be energetic imprinting that I love talking about. How do you get energetic imprinted? How do you know, and what clues to look for? And I gotta go. I love you so very much. There's gonna be a part 2 to this. Part 2. Mwah.